What's up, you guys? Welcome back to a new YouTube video. And with this video, we're going to be going over Luke Merriman's meet. He competed at the Virginia State Championship. It went really well. And I want to go over kind of our programming that went into it, as well as how the meet went and transition from our old programming into this new programming structure that we did. Because I've been with Luke for quite some time and he had to take some time off due to life circumstances. And he just recently came back with me and we were able to get 3 blocks under our belt getting into his first meet back with me, and it went really well. And I want to kind of go over how we were able to have him have a really good meet. Firstly, I'm going to go over his programming and then his meet lifts and all of that. So first block here, he is back part 2, and he's back finale. That's the macro cycle, 3 blocks. Previously, we'll go over lift by lift. When he was with me originally, squat, he used to have high bar day here, and then he would squat high bar here, and then he would do primary low bar. Going into this new time together, going into this new meet after some time off, this high bar day used to be a tertiary high bar day, very easy. So I kind of wanted to give it a shot to kind of be less specific, not have to literally squat 3 times a week, and seeing if we could just do an accessory. It's a little bit less systemically fatiguing and be able to still reap the same benefits of squatting 3 times a week, kind of get that volume in the legs. So we tried belt squat here. We kept a similar format to what we used to do, some ascending volume sets and then a top rep set. That was pretty heavy usually, and we would undulate that top set and undulate these ascending sets based on where we are in the peaking block. As we went on in this macro cycle, it got heavier. And then primary squats on Saturday, and historically we've done SPD. It has worked well, not only for his schedule, but honestly, he has been able to manage it pretty well in his training and made his training very predictable, which is the biggest thing for Luke. He is a very hard worker and he makes sure that he hits the gym every single Saturday consistently. Variables are typically pretty darn good in his life, and if variables aren't good, he doesn't let that stop him from having a good session on Saturday. So it kind of works out well with having SPD on Saturday. Very predictable lifter in that sense, and having the structure really made it very easy him into this meet. That squat, bench wise, that was his weakest lift comparatively to squat and deadlift. Bench, we've always had a little bit of trouble with in the past, so coming to me now, we wanted to kind of change things up. What we tried doing is just a 2 times a week bench press, kind of a minimal strategy, which I thought we haven't really tried too much in the past, and it worked out really well, which we'll get into. But here, Wednesday, a 2x1 with a 5x5. The 2x1 just get that intensity exposure, with a 5x5, some low, easy rep work. And then on Saturday, he'd have his primary bench, a set of 5, and then a fatigue single. You'll see the fatigue single is almost everyone's program that I coach, and I think it's very valuable. And essentially getting that intensity exposure seems to be really beneficial for a lot of people's benches. So that's why we had that structure. And then right over here, we would have dips as his 3rd bench press day, but essentially just like in a similar sense as the belt squat, we would have dips as like that 3rd bench day, but it's just an accessory variation to work on building some muscle, building some tissue, as well as it's a great movement. And a lot of times as someone progresses their dips, their bench kind of follows suit. Not all the time, but some of the time. And here in Luke's case, it seemed to play a big role in his bench press. Now, to note, these 3 blocks, we decided to go up a weight class, a 2.5 kg. He used to be a 75 kg lifter and have to cut not a lot into, but we had to definitely cut. And moving into this new macro that we had and new time together, we decided that 2.5 was probably best for him to fill out his frame a little bit better. And I think that as a foundation really helped all the programming work that much better. Then lastly, deadlift. He is not leveraged very well for deadlift, and he came to me pulling sumo. We've pulled sumo in the past, so we just kept that up. Generally speaking, just kind of take the approach of trying to just get stronger. We believe that in the past we were a little bit maybe too specific, and we had some room to go in terms of just quite literally building his posterior chain and trying out conventional to be able to see if conventional might have been a better lift for him. So we just put the conventional on the secondary to give it a shot, as well as just trying to get his posterior chain stronger. And pause, just work on positioning. And then primary deadlift would be just some ascending work on sumo. So we went through this first block. We ended off really good. We did 4 weeks. We ended off with 418, 4.5, which was awesome. 220 for 5, which was really solid at 7.5. In a single at 253, 78.5, which was fantastic for us. And then 418 for 5 on his deadlift. So this was a huge win to the end of the block. And then we did a typical kind of, deload week. And then went to in the second block. And this is where things, you'll kind of see the undulation here with his squat. That's a 6 and then a double. Here we did conventional still paused, and then some tempo bench press, 2x1, then 5x5. So you see not much change block to block here. Still primary squat, primary bench, primary deadlift, set of 4, set of 4, set of 4 single. So you'll see not much change now in this block. This is when we kind of decided we want to do a meet. That's why we had to, you'll see here at the end of this block, we extended the block by 1 week. We typically run 4-week blocks, but this block we ran 5 weeks to be able to line things things up so that the last block we could just ramp in. We took the training in approach because his primary squat, primary bench, and primary deadlift are already on Saturday. So we might as well just train into the meet and not have to try to taper him in. His week 4 always shows up strong, so we knew if we just extended this block by 1 week, we could just make it so that final block shows up really well on meet day. So you'll see this set of 4, set of 4, set of 4, and these are pretty hard RPA. All we did was kind of undulate the reps there for the top sets. So you'll see undulation of the top set rep scheme. And he had 455 for 2, and a primary bench 245 for 3, and 455 for 2. So really good stuff there. Really, really good end to this block, which allowed us at that point to then take a deload week. And you'll see here, like, we kind of had a little bit different structure on deload than normal, especially like right here. This is the best example. 1 to 2 sets based on how BW feels. We took an extra week in the block, so knowing that a little bit extra fatigue was accumulated, that we might need to deload a little bit harder. But we went through that week, and then we got to the final block. Like I said earlier, we were kind of training into this meet, so we just had 4 weeks here, and right here was meet day, and it went really well. This final block, he peaked really super good. Again, you'll see the undulation of rep scheme on high bar here. Same thing conventional. And we had a 4x5 on the competition bench press. So you'll kind of see the undulation, slight rep changes. Sets of 5 and then single. Again, we transitioned these to a lower rep scheme because we were trying to peak squat. So we're kind of getting that heavier intensity as we get later in the macro cycle. Belt squat, just kind of undulate those as needed. Dip, same thing. And primary, right? We did this whole block. We did single, single, single. So that's why we did doubles on that tail end of the last block or the block prior. He is back part 2 because we wanted to not go from sets of 4 to a single. We need to kind of bridge between that set of 4 and a single. So we took a double. Now it bridges well into the singles block heading into the meet. So he was able to hit about 1 week out. He didn't fill it in, but he had 465, he had 265, and he had 465. Top end of the ranges. So it went really well. So leading into this meet, we were super confident, and everything was going really well. So let's go over to his actual meet performance. We'll go over his bench here. You'll see he hit 265 a week out. Best in comp before this competition. We hit 117.5. That was our best in comp. So hitting 265, 120 was huge. So heading into this, we were like, 82.5 was definitely helping his bench out a lot. Here, we just decided to skip all these accessories, and that's all it literally took to kind of peak him. And we did some little things that week, like we took off a set of leg press. Some very little things, took it easy here on these inclines. So again, ramping in, training in, but with a little bit of pullback starting here. And you'll see right here for deadlift, 1 by 1, and then 1 by 5. So really squat ramped in, deadlift, a little bit of pullback and fatigue. Deadlift pullback hopefully is going to help squat a little bit, which definitely did, and it helped deadlift as well. And then bench, some accessory pullback. That's all we needed to kind of peak him. Like a typical week 4, but just a little extra. So on meet day, he came in feeling really peaked. 125, best in comp was 117.5, and this was a perfect call. I was very happy with this. Maybe had 2.5, but we were not able to get his third because of the fact that I got called on depth. Strength was definitely there, as you'll see, and depth-wise, close, so I get it. The refs, it was too close to give him a white light. Yeah, I looked back over this a couple times, and I see why they called it. I could also see it being good. So, but too close to call, might as well, make it undeniable, as some would say. So, but strength showed up really well. So we ended up with 205 for his second attempt, which would match his best in comp. As you can tell, 215 was not a bad call in terms of load. He was strong enough for it on the day. But going forward, that's something we've been focusing on training currently. And then deadlift from the tank. We missed third squat, so we wanted to make sure nothing out of the ordinary happened with deadlift. Played it very safe. 225, definitely some room in the tank, but that was kind of my goal personally, knowing that I want to make sure we get kilos because we missed some on squat. His best in comp was 232.5, so it was a little bit under his best. That's why deadlift we've been really working on, training we're currently in. Total wise, hit a 7.5 kilo meet PR total, and that's with missing a huge third squat and not even matching his best deadlift. So overall, he came in strong. Deadlift, we need to work on a little bit with strength stuff. Currently, we have switched over to conventional deadlift as our primary pool. We are here, you'll see the conventional arc. So we are doing conventional squats. We are keeping the same, and bench really keeping the same. So we are still milking out some progress and some load on squat and bench with our current structure. But with deadlift, we are taking some different approaches and seeing how that turns out. That is everything for Luke. Overall, he had a fun time, had a meet PR in total. And while we didn't get a favorable call on his squat third on depth, he showed up very strong on the day, which is what matters to both of us a lot, is that we came in very predictable and very strong. So if you have any questions about Luke's training, why we did certain things, If you need further explanation, please leave a comment in the comment section below. And I hope you enjoyed and was able to take away something from learning about Luke's meet prep heading into the Virginia State Championship. And take it easy.